I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start, man. Like this is embarrassing. Embarrassing as hell. This is what the owner had to say after the game.
As you've been with the team in a situation?
Well, I'm just frustrated like everybody else is, but since I had a lot to do with what we're seeing, then it's the proper frustration as far as I'm concerned that we're just not playing in a way, especially when you play a team that is the caliber of teams that we're playing out here. Philadelphia's a high caliber team, and we're not up to them, and that's troubling. And we've got to look at all the things that have happened. But I'll just say this right now: 5 turnovers over the last 2 games, and I don't know what we're drinking in the third quarter as we come out, but it's not working.
Jerry, can you...
Finally, some honesty coming from the owner. Let's talk about it.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait,
Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
It's not that serious. Thanks, man. Thank you. Who is your team? Who is your team? Hit me back in the comments. So, Cowboy C3, welcome to this episode of Cowboy Spit. Cowboys fall to the Eagles 34-6. To be honest with you, it's not surprising. It's not surprising at all, to be honest. It is pretty much what was expected. However, it wasn't expected to go like this. People around here, especially in the city, some of these Cowboy fans have been calling for Cooper Rush. We want Cooper Rush. We want Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott is trash. We want Cooper Rush. Well, you got Cooper Rush today. And I told you yesterday on the episode, if you watched it, I told you, when Cooper Rush was starting his games, right, the Cowboys they were playing killer defense, and they had a running game to support him. You had Tony Pollard rush for no less than 90 yards in each one of his starts that he had. You didn't have that luxury anymore today. You are going to see how he throws the ball. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, cool. It definitely shouldn't be. Let me make sure. No, I'm on the streamer. Okay, so that's my bad. The volume was down. My bad. Thanks, Mel. Appreciate it. Okay, Cowboys fall 34-6. Not surprised. Cooper Rush comes into the game highly ineffective. I've been trying to tell everybody the entire time that it is not the quarterback. It doesn't matter who you have playing a quarterback for this team. It's the offense. It's the way the offense is designed. The design of this offense is trash. That's what it is. Defense held down the fort up until the third quarter, and we'll get into that later. Let's just go into the stats right now. For the Cowboys, Cooper Rush goes 13 of 23 for 45 yards. Trey Lance goes 4 of 6 for 21 yards and an interception. Rico Dowdle has 12 carries for 53 yards, 4.4 yards per carry, which is not bad. Zeke, 6 carries for 22 yards and a big costly fumble in the red zone at the 5-yard line. Trey Lance, 3 for 17. CeeDee Lamb, a rush for 3 yards. Jake Ferguson is your leading receiver, 4 catches for 24 yards. CeeDee Lamb has 6 catches for 21 yards. Jalen Tolbert has 3 catches for 14 yards. Jalen Brooks has 1 catch for 4 yards. Rico Dowdle has 3 catches for 3 yards. Overshown has 11 total tackles. Eric Kendrick has 8 total tackles. Kalen Carson and Maris Lufau each have 5 total tackles. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 14 of 20, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. Saquon Barkley, 14 carries for 66 yards. Not a great day, but Jalen Hurts, 7 carries, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. Will Shipley has 9 carries for 34 yards. A.J. Brown, 5 catches for 109 yards. Jahan Dotson, 1 catch for 27. Dallas Goedert, 2 for 25. Devontae Smith, 2 for 14. Saquon Barkley, 1 for 12. Nakobe Dean led all tacklers for the Eagles with 7 tackles. And Blankenship, the safety, had 4 tackles. Okay, stat line doesn't tell you a lot. It's just how you play the game, right? Cowboys came out in the first quarter. Defense looked on fire. I think that you found an excellent player. I mean, an excellent player in Demarion Overshown. Kind of scared me with the non-contact injury, but he came back in the game. Everything seemed to be fine. First quarter went. It wasn't terrible. The defense played tremendously, but the offense seemed to sputter. And the offense has been sputtering since the beginning of the season. Why does it sputter the way that it sputters? Well, the offensive line is not that great. You have no running game. Absolutely no running game whatsoever. You always want to play. For some reason, you want to bring Zeke into these situations where he's just not ready. The defense in the first half was absolutely amped. They played extremely well. And I'm like, man, if this defense can just keep going, you playing Philly, high-powered offense, you go into the locker room with a 10-6, with it down 10-6. Sure, you had the ball in the red zone and you fumbled. Sure, you only got off 2 field goals. That's fine, but you were moving the ball fairly consistently inside the 20s. You just couldn't punch it in. And that's been a tale of the tape for the entire season, right? These once the field is condensed, the play calling has to be tremendous, and we just don't have that play calling. And one play, CeeDee Lamb did come across the middle, and Cooper Rush threw a pretty decent ball. He would have had to adjust to the ball, right? He caught it behind him, but the sun was in his eyes. And that's a whole nother story. Jerry was all pissed off about that, but I mean, it's a real thing in that stadium. Most stadiums sit east to west. Sit north to south. This stadium sits east to west. So when the sun sets, when you have an evening game, the sun is setting right in those windows. It is. So it doesn't matter who's ever on offense heading toward that western end zone, you're going to have sunlight in your eyes. It's an easy fix. All you got to do is throw some curtains over the windows or tint the windows, and he refuses to do it. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that when you play in this stadium, that's what's something that you're going to have to deal with. And I don't know why he won't fix it. And he was super upset after the game. He was like, where the sun is, where's the moon? You know what I mean? It's just different things with Jerry, man. He's a trip. So you come out in the second half, and the third quarter has been your arch nemesis the entire season. And I thought for a second that things might be different. Well, they weren't. Eagles come out, score 14 points in the third quarter. I heard in the fourth quarter, Tony Romo read out a stat line that was tremendously disturbing. The Eagles gained 104 total yards in the third quarter, and the Cowboys had 6. 6 yards in the third quarter. That is tremendously horrible. That's horrible. So for everybody that wanted, you got your wish. You got Cooper Rush. You got him. He's in here. He's not overpaid. He's going to come in. He's 5-1 as a starter. He's going to come in. He's going to lead this team to victory. Well, now you see. Now you see what it is. Jerry was super duper honest after the game. He said, well, now, you know what I mean? I know it's a lot of people that are frustrated. I know they're frustrated. Yeah, ouch. That's painful. I know a lot of people are frustrated, but I have a lot to do with this frustration because I'm the one that put the team on the field. Congratulations for being honest. I appreciate it. That's the first time you've been honest this whole season. The first time. This team is trash. If you look at what's coming up in the future, right? You have Houston next Monday night. You have Washington on Sunday night, and then you have the Thursday game against the Giants. I don't think you can win in any one of those games. I don't think you can. And then after that, you got Carolina. I don't think you can beat Carolina. Then you got a Cincinnati team that's resurgent. I don't think you can beat Cincinnati. And then you got to play Washington again, and Washington's going to be battling because they lost today in a close one. They're going to be battling for a division lead with Philly. I don't think you want that one either. So you're looking right now at a 3-win football team for the season. That's what you're looking at. I don't see it going any different. You know, I really wanted to bring in Trey Lance and just use him in a different capacity. I thought when you got inside the red zone, I would have brought him in and run some read option with him. Just to put the Philly defense in some sort of stress, because your regular offense isn't stressful to anybody. Your regular offense right now probably can't score against Alabama. They probably can't. Damn sure can't score against Texas. That ain't happening. It's bad. This is bad. But the problem with the whole thing is that if you had just a little bit of football knowledge, just a little bit, you don't have to have a lot of football knowledge. If you had just a little bit of football knowledge, you saw this coming. You saw this coming from a mile away. The writing was on the wall a long time ago about this team. The writing was on the wall when this team took the field in training camp that this team was not going to be good. And there was a lot of people in here, you know, a lot of Cowboy fans thought, oh, you know what I mean? We'll get to the playoffs. That's no problem. We can win this division. That's no problem. Man, please. Each one of these teams in this division, including the New York Giants, made moves to get better, and the Cowboys did nothing, absolutely nothing to get better. Jerry, you're right. Jerry needs to just sit up in the press box and look pretty. That's what he needs to do. He needs to let the coaches do whatever they're going to do. But the thing about it is that right now, I don't think Mike McCarthy is the right football coach for this team, and you're going to need another one. You're going to need another one. It's just not going to work. Your offense everything you saw today was within 2 to 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. Every pass that they threw, it was some kind of screen. That's because they don't feel comfortable with the offensive line. And I understand that, but move the pocket. Move the pocket. Last week, when Dak moved the pocket, even though he hurt his leg, scrambling. He didn't hurt his head move. He didn't hurt his leg moving the pocket. When you move the pocket, it gives your quarterback a little bit more time to throw the ball. Gives the receivers a little bit of time to get downfield. The problem with this team is that everybody knows what routes they're gonna run, and they're so predictable that there's nothing open. There's nothing open. If you watch Jalen Hurts, as soon as he gets back to his 3, 5, or 7-step drop, as soon as he was getting back to his drop, he was getting rid of the ball. Every time he didn't get rid of the ball and he held the ball back in the pocket, he got sacked. He was holding the ball too long. But every single time that he dropped back, if he got back to the end of his drop back and let go of the ball, there was receivers that were open and he was getting them the ball. That's something that Jalen Hurts is going to have to work on as a quarterback, right? Get back to your drop, find an open receiver, and get him the ball, because the Eagles had receivers running down the field wide open all day. All day. There were some players that played well, especially in the first half. Overshown was all over the place the whole game. He was holding down the fort. Micah Parsons came in and played extremely well, especially in the first half. He played well. I think by the time he got into the third and fourth quarter, end of the third, early into the fourth, he was gassed. Probably out of shape, not in any kind of football shape, not yet, but he'll get there. Trayvon Diggs played, he played pretty well. He had an excellent pick in the end zone, excellent diving pick in the end zone. That was great. Osi Odigizua, constant penetration on the defensive line. Constant. And it looked good. Maris Luafau had a great game today. He played well on defense. It's just by the time you got to the third quarter and they keep going 3 and out, man, they gassed. They ain't got no more juice. Been on the field too long. And the Eagles are just sustaining quality drives, 12, 13, 14, 10. You know what I'm saying? Quality drives down the field and scoring points. That's tough. That's a lot of pressure on your defense. Your offense has no creativity, again. No creativity in the pass game. No creativity in the run game. Cooper Rush back there. I told you yesterday he was going to be a sitting duck. I told you. No passes in the flats to these running backs. You're consistently trying to get them downfield. Sure, I know Rico Dowdle has good hands. Man, This is a perfect opportunity, perfect game to come in there and throw Deuce Vaughn some screens. But instead, we keep wasting time with Zeke. Jerry's not going to be wrong about the Zeke thing, though. He's not going to be wrong. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. When he said it on the second day of the draft, right before the second day of the draft, when he told everybody that he was going to see what Zeke was going to do, that meant that he was going to see what Zeke was going to do. Don't care who's behind him. Don't care who's in front of him. Zeke is going to get his opportunities. And Zeke crossed the ball up in the red zone. It is what it is, man. If Dak Prescott is in this game, does it make a difference? No, not at all. It doesn't make a difference. You probably get 16 points if Dak is in the game. That's about it. You have to have sustaining drives. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to keep those high-powered offenses on the sideline. You got another high-powered offense coming. Yeah, they coming here next Monday night. You got another one in Houston. They got a couple of injuries, but they still got some guys that can get up and go, and they can run the football too. They can. And they play pretty stingy defense. They got a defensive head coach. They play pretty good defense. We'll see how good they do tonight. And if they can stay healthy tonight, they got their hands full tonight with Detroit. And hopefully Detroit beat them up for a little bit. And we can, you know what I'm saying, we get a depleted team coming in here. But I don't think it really makes a difference. Not right now. Not right now. You're 3-6. 3-6. You got another 8 games left this season. You got 8 more weeks of this. I just don't. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe 1 win. Maybe. Texans scored already. That's good. That's good. Detroit is on the tear though, man. And one thing that Detroit can do is they can control the clock with their running game. And once they start running the ball efficiently, the way that they can, it makes Jared Goff that much more, not spectacular. I don't know if it makes him more efficient. There you go. He doesn't really have to do anything spectacular in that offense. All he's got to do is complete passes. And because the run is so threatening to every team that they play, a lot of times Detroit just have receivers running wide open. All Jared Goff got to do is hit them. Brittany was out. She's out, celebrating the game with her people or whatever. But I'm so happy that she didn't come on here singing that shit. It would have pissed me off. Oh, it would have pissed me off. And so she ain't here to sing. I'm not showing no picture with me in no Eagles jersey. I ain't doing it. Not gonna happen. It's just, this was expected. I mean, I'm not even really that upset because this is something that I thought that was expected. It's a 4-quarter football game. All they gotta do is just hold on. I ain't doing it. It's not that serious. I ain't doing it. I can't do it, man. It made me itch, bro. Couldn't do it. But there's really nothing that you can do. You can plan on next season. I don't think that you can save the season right now. You're not playing. I don't think you have this. Could the season be saved? Yeah, it could be saved if you had the capability to do it. I don't think the Cowboys have the capability with the players that they have on this roster right now. I don't think they have the capability to save the season. I just don't. There's nothing that shows you that they can. And it starts with both lines, offensive and defensive lines. They're not very good. There's a lot of talk about Tyler Guyton today. He couldn't go. And there's a lot of talk that they start questioning his toughness, right? You got Zach Martin sitting out there. He got a bad neck, bad shoulder, bad back. Now he, pulled a glute. That's what they said what happened to him. So he pulled his ass muscle. You know what I'm saying? But he's still out there battling. And, at least he attempts to get in the way, right? Tyler Guyton, man, this is one of those times where, you got to ride it out to the end, though. And it's seasons like this and it's times like this where if you're out there and you're playing hard, regardless of the score, regardless of what's going on, you start to earn the respect of your teammates, right? Now, if he was too injured to go, he was too injured to go, and that obviously was the case. And Hakeem Richards played in his spot. He was a 4th-round draft pick, I think 2 years ago. And it was about the same result. It just wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. Terrence Steele, again, beat like a damn drum all game long. It's just not good. You have bright spots, of course, and most of them came from the defense today. They played hard. Overshown, played extremely hard today. What do you do? And now, this is what you have because Dak it has been suggested to him that he has this surgery on his hamstring and it's going to put him out for 4 months. So he's done for the season. He's going to have a second opinion in New York, I think, tomorrow. He was on the sideline today, talking to Cooper Rush, trying to coach him up. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is, man. This team, and it starts at the top. It's bad. Dallas needs to focus on getting offensive line help, running back, and coaches in the offseason. Yeah, agreed. I don't disagree with you. But the way that they do it, especially the way they've been doing it in the past, that's not going to work anymore. You need to hire a head coach, and you need to let that coach choose his own coaching staff. You can't hire your offensive and defensive coordinator first and then hire your coach, and that's just what he has to deal with. There may not be any continuity in that. You have to bring in a coach and you have to allow him to bring in his own coaching staff. Now, as the GM / CEO / owner / face of the franchise, right? You have to relinquish some control for that to work. Sure, you can sign the bottom line. You can go in and say, okay, I approve of this decision. And that's fine, right? You still have the say so with the team. But the way that this has gone, in past history, that he has chosen the coordinators first and the staff, and then he brings in a head coach to, pick it then. I can't stand Dallas, but O'Shawn is one of my favorites. He plays hard almost every play. I love the effort he gives every time I watch the Cowboys play. Agreed. The dude is everywhere, and he is kind of the saving grace of that draft class 2 years ago. He is, because the rest of them haven't done anything at all. Schoonmaker today, that's the most he's played since probably since right before the bye week. And he didn't do much. The point of attack for tight end play, to seal edges and run the ball outside is terrible. I mean, that includes Jake Ferguson. And Jake Ferguson played hard today. But he's not talented enough to make blocks like that. You know what I mean? You can't leave him with a defensive end and him just, getting away and slow him down. That's not something that he can do. He's a good pass receiver. He's just not a good blocker. Schoonmaker was brought in to block, and I think he might be worse than Ferguson. This is why Brevin Spanford, an undrafted free agent, gets a lot of playing time. Because you wasted your second-round pick on a tight end that blocked in college but can't block in the pros. It is what it is, man. That's all you can really say about this team. You got what you got. And that's why I appreciated Jerry a little bit after the game saying, hey, you know what I mean? I'm frustrated, but I got a lot to do with the frustration because this is the team that I put on the field. Never heard him take accountability before like that in a long, long time. He did it today. I don't know what to say about it. Next week, you got the Texans. I got the game on right now. It's not that serious. Yeah, they looking pretty good. They don't look terrible at all. But, it seems like every team comes in here and looks pretty good against Dallas. And the Eagles, and it's another thing that I've been preaching, especially on here. I've been preaching that a lot. In that third quarter, that's when you go in the locker room and you make a couple of adjustments. And okay, Dallas is doing this real well. What can we do to counter that? And as a coaching staff, you have to understand that, okay, sure, we're playing well on this side of the ball, right? We need to adjust these things on offense and try to get some movement and get down the field and score some points. But on defense, the Eagles are probably going to try to do this to offset what we're doing. We're going to do this to counter that, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to continue to provide pressure on Jalen Hurts. And we're going to do whatever we need to do to slow this offense down in the third quarter. And right now, 70, so 80, 86, 86-20, no, 86-16 is the score in the third quarter for Cowboy games. I believe that's right. If it's not the exact number, it's very close. 86-16 in the third quarter, which that shows me that you're making no adjustments whatsoever. And the other teams are. And it just, that's just the Dallas Cowboys. That's the Dallas Cowboys this year. That's what we've all grown accustomed to this season. And it won't change. Not this year. And I just think that this coaching staff right now they're trying to save face. And you know what I'm saying? Try to do at least something well to try to get them a job next year, because their job won't be here. It can't be. Not after this. But, in order for this to work, especially in the future, this season is a wash. In order for this to work in the future, you're probably going to get a high draft pick. Can't waste that draft pick, right? You can't waste it. You got to bring somebody here that's gonna contribute right away, right? And the easiest thing to do, especially if you have a high draft pick in the top 10, right, is probably trade down into the 20s and pick up some draft capital, because you lost some draft capital bringing in Mingo as a 4th-round draft pick. So get some draft capital and try to get this running back, just like running back from Boise State. Try to get a player like that. Seems like that was just schemed only for Barkley. Yeah. And that showed because he didn't have a big game. Once again, he didn't rush for 100 yards against the Cowboys. Again, right? But I said yesterday, if you slow down Saquon Barkley, you have to look for the play action pass. You have to look for it. They didn't slow down Jalen Hurts. He didn't run rampant, you know what I mean, like Lamar Jackson did against the Cowboys, but he still scored 2 touchdowns. The tush push was effective. The tush push was effective, and I still think that some of those should be Saquon Barkley's touchdowns, but, it is what it is. That's a part of their offense. But their offensive line, especially in the second half, the Eagle offensive line looked pretty good. They protected him pretty well. And he delivered some timely passes, and you know what I mean, and had some good runs. Absolutely ran over Jordan Lewis to go in the end zone, just flatlined his ass. Story of the Cowboys the whole season. Just demolished. I don't really know what the plan is from now on. Trey Lance came in, was not effective. I told you I didn't really feel comfortable with him passing the ball, 10, 12 times. And thankfully they didn't call that many pass plays. But I mean, he threw a pick right into cover 2 coverage. Threw it right at the safety. Jalen Tolbert had no idea. Well, he had an idea that the ball was in the air, but he had no idea the safety was behind him. And Charlie Gardner-Johnson, that's an easy pick. That's simple, Quarterback gonna throw it right to you. Got to be able to read defenses, and they're not really doing anything tricky. That's the thing about it. But like I said, route combinations, these route combinations, just the total scheme with the offense, man, is terrible. And I don't really blame Brian Schottenheimer from it, even though he is the offensive coordinator. I really don't blame him for it, because all you got to do is go back and look 2 years ago at the Jacksonville offense, and the Jacksonville offense looked nothing like this. Jacksonville offense had excellent route combinations. Shit, they got Trevor Lawrence paid. Got him paid. Soon as he left, that offense went downhill. But he came here, and all of a sudden it's because Mike McCarthy is the one calling these plays. These are his plays. He's calling the plays that he feels comfortable with, and the plays that he feels like will get the offense moving, and it's not working. It's not working at all. And sure, it's not blocked up well, and you probably have to get the ball, to these receivers pretty quick. But that's why, teams with bad offensive lines in the past, or teams with, not even bad offensive lines, but just mediocre offensive lines, right? That's why these teams run a lot of screen passes. Or they go get a running back that'll offset that. And we got Zeke and Rico Dowdle, even though I don't have a problem with Rico Dowdle. I think if you got a quality starting running back, Rico Dowdle makes the second punch in a 1-2 punch. He's the second one in that punch. And he would not be bad at that at all. But as a starting running back that's trying to tote the load, I don't think that's the answer. All right, y'all. It's been a frustrating day, but we'll see what happens this week. We'll see if you start moving some pieces around. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know Zeke was that washed. Was this washed? Yeah. So the thing about Zeke is 2 years ago, you started to see the decline, and it was pretty rapid. And that's why Tony Pollard carried most of the load. And they decided to get rid of Zeke, which I don't think was the best thing to do because it was Zeke and Tony Pollard, and they were the ones that delivered the 1-2 punch here in Dallas. Last year, Tony Pollard was coming off a broken leg, and he still was in the game. And I still tell everybody he was 4 yards away from being 1,000-yard back, and you didn't even attempt to bring him back, not even attempt. And then to top it off, you didn't attempt to grab any other running back in free agency, and then you didn't attempt to draft any running back at all. So now you got what you got. You got Rico Dowdle, you got Zeke, and Dalvin Cook just can't see the field. So, yeah. It's not even that Zeke is really that washed. He's just not the back that he once was. He's pretty good in short yard situations. And, to be honest, most of the time he's really good with ball security. It's just today, that wasn't the case. Anytime he carried the ball. Wasn't good in short yardage, and he definitely wasn't good with ball security. He fumbled the ball out into the end zone, and the Eagles recovered it. Nothing you can do. Mistakes happen, of course, and they're going to continue to happen with this team because to be honest, is not designed to win. This team is not designed to win, and when you play teams like Philly, teams that are designed to win, and make playoff runs, this is the type of result that you get. And like I said, you got another team coming in here that's designed to win again next week. You do. And, this game against the Giants on Thanksgiving could be the battle of the bottom of the barrel. It really is. I mean, that's exactly what it is. So, anyway, I'm not going to waste y'all's time too much tonight, man. This was a painful day. Cowboys lose 34-6 to the Philadelphia Eagles. I deserve all of this. I do. Once we do this next one, we're going to have fun with this next one. Even though it's going to be more fun for you, Sideline Speaks, it's not going to be fun for me. It's bogus. Bogus. All right. Next week, we'll have some more Cowboy news. Hopefully some good news. And then you knew this guy. Yeah, man. The small fry. I'm not going to sit here and even argue with you. Yeah, I did know it was going to happen. I did. I'm honest. You know what I mean? If you haven't before, like and subscribe it and watch some of my shows. You may not be a Cowboy fan, right? But I tell the truth. I will tell you the truth. Yeah, this was expected. I picked them to win. I picked them to lose 35-17. It was my score. I was close. 34-6 is close. Cowboys offense just did worse than I thought it would do. I thought in the end that the Eagles would kind of back off their coverage and the Cowboys would sneak a touchdown or two in at the end of the game. But today was one of those games where the Eagles were like, nah, you're not going to get it. I love is a fight, even if I'm not a fan. There was a couple players that fought, and you can see the players on the Cowboys team that have heart. You can see that. All right. Next week, we'll be here on Wednesday. We'll give a little Cowboy news. And, we'll probably do a pregame on Sunday, probably in between the day and the night game. And then we'll go live after the game because next week's game is on Monday night against the Texans. So, till next week, y'all, go Cowboys. See y'all later. All right, peace.